The black paintings represent a series of 14 murals created by the Spanish master Francisco Goya between 1820 and 1823. Painted directly onto the interior plaster walls of his own home, these works were a private undertaking, never intended for public exhibition. They weren't commissioned. Goya never mentioned them in letters, and virtually no records of their existence from Goya's life. So why did he paint them? How did Goya transform from an artist known for elegant works like this to someone who covered his walls with scenes of cannibalism, witchcraft, and despair? Born in 1746 to a middle-class family, Goya rose through the ranks of Spanish high society to become a celebrated court painter, working for 3 successive Spanish kings. His early career was marked by the creation of light-hearted tapestry for royal residences, featuring Rococo-style scenes with pastel palettes depicting the playful activities of nobility and peasantry. In 1792, at the age of 46, Goya contracted a mysterious illness. While he eventually recovered, the affliction left him permanently deaf. The loss of hearing, combined with his love for music and conversation, isolated him and marked a significant turning point in his life and art. This period saw the creation of darker works, such as the 1794 painting Courtyard with Lunatics, which depicts the horror and chaos of a mental asylum in stark contrast to the sunlight above. His deafness and subsequent isolation may have provided a new artistic freedom. He began to explore a more personal vision, evident in the 1799 series of 80 etchings titled Los Caprichos. These prints were a sharp critique of the flaws in Spanish society, which Goya saw as superstitious, ignorant, and lacking reason. Spain's political climate collapsed in the early 19th century, especially after Napoleon's forces invaded, triggering the violent and devastating Peninsular War. Though Goya and other Spanish liberals initially hoped French rule might bring modernization, he soon witnessed the violent subjugation of his countrymen. Goya witnessed the massacres of Spanish civilians by French troops on May 2nd and 3rd in 1808. After the French were expelled in 1814, Goya was commissioned to commemorate the events, producing 2 of his most famous works, the 2nd of May, 1808, and the 3rd of May, 1808. These paintings broke from the heroic traditions of war art, instead portraying the raw brutality of state-sponsored violence against ordinary people. This repressive climate, along with the trauma of the war, deepened Goya's bleak view of humanity and pushed him to create his series, The Disasters of War, in secret. In 1819, at age 72, Goya withdrew from public life. He purchased a 2-story farmhouse outside Madrid called the Quinta del Sordo, or House of the Deaf Man. He lived there in solitude with his companion, Leocadia Weiss. Goya had survived 2 major illnesses and lived with the constant fear that another relapse could strike at any moment. During this period of deep isolation, he began covering the walls of his house with what would later be known as the black paintings. They were painted directly onto the dried plaster of the walls, using oil-based materials, suggesting Goya never intended for them to be permanent frescoes. Goya began the murals sometime after moving into the Quinta del Sordo in 1819. He never titled these works. The names used today were assigned by art historians, beginning with Goya's friend who cataloged them in 1828. The series comprises 14 paintings with an additional work, Heads in a Landscape, often regarded as the 15th black painting. This piece was separated from the main collection and is now privately owned. The paintings were distributed across the ground and first floors of the Quinta del Sordo, wrapping the living spaces in hellacious murals. Photographs taken by J. Laurent in 1874, prior to the murals' removal, document their original arrangement and show that they were framed with classicist borders. The meaning of the black paintings is multifaceted and ultimately unknowable, as Goya left no commentary on them. Interpretations range from reflections of his own psyche to broader allegories about society and the human condition. The most common interpretation posits that the paintings are a direct product of Goya's traumatic experiences. His despair over his deafness, anxiety about his health, and a bleak outlook on humanity are seen as the primary drivers. Some experts have suggested that the paintings might reflect health problems Goya suffered from, such as lead poisoning from his paints or symptoms of paranoid dementia. Many works are read as political allegories. Saturn devouring his son is often interpreted as a metaphor for the Spanish state, or time itself, consuming its own people. Witches' Sabbath and other depictions of witchcraft are seen as a silent protest against the oppressive Spanish Inquisition. The violence and despair in paintings like A Pilgrimage to San Isidro reflect Goya's disillusionment with the mob and the failure of Spain to embrace Enlightenment values. Several of Goya's black paintings stand out for their striking power and have been the focus of extensive analysis. In Saturn devouring his son, Goya transforms the Greek myth into a scene of visceral horror. Saturn is a crazed and frightened figure who has already decapitated his victim and is actively chewing an arm, with the victim depicted as a fully grown adult rather than a child. Saturn's eyes convey shock at his own monstrousness rather than simple malice. In Witches' Sabbath, a humanoid billy goat, likely representing Satan, presides over grotesque witches, vividly portraying superstition and dark rituals, and serving as a condemnation of the ignorance and terror perpetuated by the Spanish Inquisition. Together, these paintings reveal Goya's mastery of combining personal despair, social critique, and intense visual drama into a haunting and unforgettable artistic vision. Though created in secrecy, the black paintings survived their creator to become some influential works in Western art. Almost 50 years after his death, the house was purchased by a French banker, Émile d'Erlanger. Beginning in 1874, he hired a restorer to undertake the slow and difficult process of transferring the murals to canvas. This involved carefully removing the wallpaper layer on which Goya had painted. The paintings were damaged and partly repainted during this process. In 1881, the Baron donated the entire collection to the Spanish state. They are now permanently housed in the Museo del Prado in Madrid. If you'd like to explore more strange and powerful stories from art history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for our next videos. See you next time.